I want to start by saying this topic tonight isn't a very sexy topic, but it's important because if you are constipated to the point where you're only going to the bathroom one time every other day, or if you're not going at least 1 to 2 times a day, then you need to watch this class tonight because I'm going to give you a lot of underlying causes that could be creating your constipation. And a lot of these things you have never heard before. One of the things I'm not going to tell you in this class is that you need to take a bunch of probiotics and eat more fiber. And I'm going to share with you and teach you why that's usually not the right advice for somebody who is struggling with severe constipation. So you have a constipation problem if you're not going to the bathroom at least once a day or twice a day. Some of you I know are going like once every 4 days, once every 5 days. I had somebody who became a client of mine one time, and she hadn't gone for 14 days. You understand that if you're not getting rid of your bowels, that you're just redistributing all the toxins that are in your bowel. So it's a very toxic situation if you're not eliminating every single day. So we're going to go over this tonight, and I'm going to share some things with you that you probably have never heard before. So again, we want to always use this class as a resource. This class is not designed to give you medical advice, but it is designed to teach you some different things that you can discuss with your medical doctor, or you can try yourself after you've talked to your doctor. But severe constipation, usually when you go to your MD for constipation, they're just going to put you on Metamucil, or they're going to tell you that this is hereditary, or they're going to tell you that, oh, it's your age and all of that. And it's just not true. So why listen to me? Because one, I am a functional nutritionist. I've been doing this for a long time, and I used to struggle with constipation. When I had adrenal fatigue back many, many years ago, I'm not going to tell you how many years ago because it will divulge my age. Not that I'm embarrassed about my age, but I'm just saying. But seriously, I've struggled with almost everything that you guys probably have struggled with. Even though I've never been diagnosed with diabetes, I have had insulin resistance, where my insulin was super high. So kind of like a pre-diabetic, right? I've had adrenal fatigue. I've had chronic constipation, chronic fatigue, hormone imbalance. And then the big voodoo daddy was cancer. So it just goes to show you that when you don't understand how your body works and you're not giving it the right things, and it turns sour, because everything we're being taught is wrong information. So when I got cancer, that was when I really took a turn to understanding more on a deeper level how much holistic nutrition had to be the priority, and removing sources of toxins. I thought I was doing everything correctly. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't smoking. I was eating healthy. I was exercising, but I also had to learn the toxic exposure that I was exposed to. And we're all exposed to toxic exposures, but some of us have more than others. And whether or not you know that, it's based on the health of your mouth, if you've had surgeries, if you live by a 5G tower, if you've been exposed to mold, if you have lead or mercury poisoning. So there's just so many things that cause the body to become unbalanced. It's never just one thing. So the reason why I decided, years ago to start with these classes is because I have learned so much about the body, and I've learned how to teach my clients how to create balance in the body and to remove the sources of toxins that are causing a lot of our issues. But it's never just one thing. When you go to a doctor for constipation, let's say, is a common one, or acid reflux, they're going to tell you that, yep, you treat it with a drug. But it's never just one thing. You can go to a doctor and get a diagnosis of heartburn or constipation, but they're never going to give you a multifaceted approach, which is what you have to do. The body's very complex, although the body understands how to autocorrect itself if you give it what it needs. So giving your body Metamucil that is prescribed by a doctor, or constipation medication, or if you go to, for acid reflux because you are constipated and you have acid reflux and they give you Perlosec or they give you an antacid or whatever, that's never going to fix the underlying problem, which is what I teach. We have to understand what the imbalance is in the body. And you have to try different things. And you have to understand how the body works. What doctors are amazing at diagnosing, and they're amazing at trauma care and surgery and infectious disease. Thank God for doctors who do surgery. And if I ever get into a car accident and I need to get surgery, thank goodness that a doctor can do surgery. They're brilliant at that. And they're really good at running tests and diagnosing. But they don't understand how to create balance in the body. And how do you create balance in the body? By what you put in it, which is nutrition, supplements. And how to get rid of disease? You don't get rid of disease by going on medication. Okay, you treat with medication. So that's what they're good at. But if you truly want to create balance in your body and you want to relieve and get rid of your symptom, not just treat a symptom, you have to do it this way. And this is what this group is all about, is teaching you how to learn what your underlying causes. I always call it the why. Like, what's the why? What's the why? Why do you have the symptom? When you have a symptom, constipation is a symptom. When you have a symptom, it's like having a red engine light go off in your car. When you have a car and you're driving down the road and the red engine light comes on, you don't ignore it. Of course you don't. You're like, oh, I wonder what's caught. I don't want to be driving my car with a red engine light on. I don't want my car to blow up on me or to break down when out in the middle of Timbuktu. You do something about it. A symptom is the same thing. I want all of you guys to really think about that. I want you to remember that when you have a symptom, it's like a red engine light in your car. Our bodies aren't supposed to have symptoms. Our bodies are supposed to speak to us. And when we have a symptom, it's an indication that something is out of balance in the body. So symptoms are actually good. It's a way of our body speaking to us. But don't ignore the symptom. And don't, by all means, don't keep putting medication on top of a symptom, because that never corrects it. It just treats it. I see this every single day. Is my clients go to doctors and they get medications for constipation or for acid reflux or for blood pressure, and then, or diabetes for blood sugar. And they never get off the drugs with them until they come and work with me, because I teach the why. And once you can understand the why, you'll become empowered. So anyway, tonight, we're talking, again, constipation is not a sexy thing to talk about. I get it. But if you're not pooping every day, you have a problem. You're putting those toxins back in your system. So I think the most important thing to understand is that it's not your age, it's not your hormones, and you don't need more Metamucil. I'm sorry, but if you're constipated, it's not because your mom is constipated. You will be told a lot, well, it's genetic. They use genetic. Doctors or people tell you it's genetic when they don't know what it is. Just because your mom was constipated doesn't mean that you're going to be constipated. Just because your mom had diabetes doesn't mean that you're going to have diabetes. You have the ability to turn off and on good and bad genes by what you do, what choices you make. So that's the key that I want you to understand. So remember, it's never just one thing that causes constipation. But what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to go over and reveal kind of the top main ones. So let's get started. So what I want to do is take a look at these certain situations that I'm going to be telling you about tonight and kind of talk to you about what might be creating it. But before we do that, we have to understand what digestion is, because if your digestion is not working, you're going to be constipating. So digestion, we call it complete digestion, starts when the first minute you put food in your mouth and you start chewing. So you chew the food, your body creates saliva, which helps break the food down even farther. You swallow it, it goes down the hatch, it enters the stomach, where the stomach then produces hydrochloric acid. Once the food is in your stomach and produces hydrochloric acid, then your liver and your pancreas also release certain enzymes to help aid in the digestion of those parts of the food, the micro and macronutrients. And then once it gets in there, the gallbladder releases bile. Then it enters the duodenum, which is the first 10 inches of your small intestine. And that's where your gallbladder releases bile, and it neutralizes the acid that is being led from your stomach. And the bile and the acid are taking that mixture, that food, and it's neutralizing it. And then it is pushed into the small intestine, or then it goes into the large intestine where it's eliminated. So as you can see, from the minute you take a bite of food to the time it comes out the back end, that is your complete digestion. So if something is off in any of these areas, you're going to have a symptom. You're going to have problems. And some of the symptoms besides constipation are diarrhea, acid reflux, bloating, fatigue. If you're not digesting food properly, and if you're not breaking down food properly, you're going to have signs of bloating and acid reflux and constipation. You're going to not be able to absorb your nutrition. And that is a whole another slew of symptoms. So I would strongly encourage you, if you did not watch my class last week on digestion, please watch that, because we did a really deep dive on kind of all the systems and how your body works from a digestion standpoint. So by the end of this video, I'm hoping that you will understand what it is that may be causing your constipation if you have it. Before we talk about the causes, I want you to understand that, again, your digestive tract starts from the minute that you put food in to when it comes out. So if you have incomplete digestion, you're going to have constipation. In my experience, the number one reason for constipation is lack of stomach acid. This lack of stomach acid is also called hypochlorhydria. And what happens is when we eat food, our stomach acid makes hydrochloric acid. And that hydrochloric acid is meant to help us acidify that food that we eat so we can start the breakdown process. Now, we need to break that food down so that we can access the nutrients that are in our food. So the stomach acid is a very important part of digestion. And the problem is, it's very common that, and for a wide variety of reasons, that someone is not making enough of this acid. What most people do who have constipation is their stomach acid might be like really low. Your stomach acid needs to be full. Like we need to have a lot of hydrochloric acid in our stomachs. In fact, the lining of our stomach, it's designed to hold stomach acid. And by the way, our stomach acid, the acid of a battery is 0.8 to 1 pH, right? Your stomach acid is 2 to 3. So super alkaline is 14 pH, but your stomach acid should be between 2 to 3. So if battery acid is 0.8 to 1, you know very well that your stomach acid should be very acidic. And so a lot of us don't have enough stomach acid and we're not breaking down our food. And then when we're not breaking down our food, it's causing a lot of issues with incomplete digestion. So we need to break down that food so that we can access the nutrients that are in our food. And so the stomach acid is a very important part of digestion. The problem is, for many reasons, sometimes we're not able to make enough stomach acid. So we need to understand why this is important for constipation. What happens is when the stool moves through the intestinal tract, the stool moves at the pace of the acidity level. If you don't go to the bathroom for 2 or 3 days, that means that you don't have a lot of acid in your stomach. The stool moves through the intestinal tract based on its acidity level. So if a stool is leaning too far on the acidic side, it will shoot out really aggressively. If you don't have enough, you're going to have constipation. So if the stool is leaning too alkaline, which is more up in here, 14, 7, 8, 9, it will move through the intestinal tract slower. And at that slower pace, what it does is it tends to make it more dry and hard and more difficult to move. So again, when I showed you this slide earlier, but when we have the stomach acid and the food goes into our stomach, then it's passed into the first 10 inches of the small intestine, which is the duodenum. And your gallbladder is designed to intercept that acid. And when the gallbladder releases bile, bile is alkaline. So when bile releases from the gallbladder and it matches with the stomach acid, it creates like this sizzle. Bile is alkaline, stomach acid is acidic. So when those two match together, it creates this sizzle. And that's what our bodies need, that process. It needs that sizzle to be able to break down, emulsify the food and to neutrify the acid, because we don't want that super acidic product to go into our intestines. We want to be more neutral. When it's in the stomach, we want it to be very acidic, but as it passes through the duodenum and into the small intestine, we want it to be more alkaline. So this is why our stomach is so perfectly designed because the contents, the lining of the stomach is so strong that it's able to hold the acid. And then when it breaks down and the gallbladder senses the food coming, it brings the bile, which is alkaline, to create the sizzle, which then helps nutrify and makes that chyme, it's called, more neutral so that it will go through the intestine. The pH of the stool moving through the system is a really big factor when it comes to both chronic constipation and issues of chronic diarrhea. Again, with the speed of the stool is based on the acidity of digestion. So I'm sure some of you have seen this chart maybe, but if you have separate hard lumps and you have severe constipation, you have very, very low stomach acid. If you have a liquid consistency, severe diarrhea, it can be poor bile flow, but also it means it's too much acid. And here's why, you guys. I just want to share this with you because this is so fascinating. Think of it this way, if our bodies are so smart. So let's say you have too much acid and not enough bile. Okay, so remember, bile is alkaline. So let's say you have too much acid, which is why you have diarrhea. If you have too much acid and it goes through the duodenum and you don't have any bile to neutralize it, your intestines aren't designed to have super acidic material. Your intestines are not designed to have that. Your intestine lining is made of proteins, and that acid will break down your intestines. This is why it's so important to have bile in the gallbladder. This is why it's so important not to get your gallbladder out, because gallbladder is a storage tank for that alkaline bile. So if you don't have your gallbladder, it just impacts the bile flow. The reason you have diarrhea is because that acid product is trying to get out of your intestines and your large intestine and your small intestine as fast as it can. The body's trying to push it out. So the body's bringing water into your large colon, your large intestine and your colon, so that it can get that product out so it doesn't damage your intestines. So our bodies are so smart. This is why if we just understand the mechanisms of our body, then we can know how to troubleshoot. So your constipation is not because you lack fiber and lack metamucil. It's because you have a digestion problem. Lack of stomach acid is the number one thing I see when it comes to chronic constipation. Now, the other thing is that number two would be the second most common cause of chronic constipation is what we call an anabolic imbalance. So during the day, our cells should be more catabolic. This is when we're awake. And this is a catabolic state is where the body's during the day, it's really good at creating energy, breaking down tissue so that it can rebuild. It's kind of like it keeps us going all day. Body should be more anabolic in the evening at nighttime to help us sleep, to help us repair at night. It's when we rebuild and it brings more water to the kidneys. So both of these are very important to have. Our body flips back and forth between the two. So you can see that both are appropriate. But what's happening for a variety of reasons is some people get stuck in either a catabolic state too much, which creates a lot of health problems, or they get stuck in an anabolic state. Okay, so when you're stuck in a catabolic state and tissues are breaking down all the time, the real problem in the catabolic state is that your body will send more water to the bowel and less to the kidneys. And in this anabolic state, your body sends more water to the kidneys and less to the bowels. So in anabolic state, you're going to have more peeing at night, right? So if you're stuck in an anabolic state, you're going to be peeing at night and there's not going to be less water going to the bowel. So you'll have more of a constipation if you're in a chronic catabolic state. Okay. So this is why it's so important to know, like, are you flipping back and forth between these two? And there's some home tests that you can do that will help you discern whether or not you might be stuck more in a catabolic state or an anabolic state. So if you're getting up to pee 14 times a night, it's a pretty good indication that you're probably more in an anabolic state, right? And that's because your body is sending more water into the kidneys and not enough to the bowel. So that bowel is getting hard and dry. And if it's difficult to move, it's because your body's not sending enough water to the colon. So the other thing, a part of anabolic imbalance is sometimes it's just as simple as dehydration. Now, here's the problem with that, though. This water stuff I want to talk about, right? We're supposed to drink a lot of water, and sometimes you're being told you're supposed to drink a lot of water. And sometimes depending on your situation, you could just be dehydrated, not getting enough water and making your stools hard. However, when you drink enough water and there's enough water that goes to the bowels, this could be a problem for some people drinking too much water. Because if you drink too much water and you're in more on an anabolic state, what's happening is now you're drinking too much water and you're pushing minerals out, and your body needs minerals in order to digest food and in order to make your bowels work properly. We have to just understand that if you drink more water and you have low minerals in your system, or you have low blood pressure, which is another indication that you might have a sign of low minerals. If you have a blood pressure that's 112, which is, by the way, the systolic number of your blood pressure is the top number. So if your top number is 112 or lower, that's a really good indication that you are low in minerals. So you don't need to be drinking a lot of water. In fact, that means that you probably don't have enough minerals. So the more water you drink, you're pushing minerals out. And the one thing that you need in order to make hydrochloric acid, which is the acid of the stomach, is you need minerals. So again, you have to, people always ask me all the time, like, how much water should I be drinking? I'm like, well, if you don't have diarrhea or you don't have constipation, then drink to thirst, right? But if you're chronically constipated, you might need more stomach acids versus water, because the water can be just making you more constipated because just pushing minerals up, because you need the minerals in order to produce hydrochloric acid and build up your stomach acid. So do you see how there's just not one size fits all? You have to really understand this. The thing that you have to do to make hydrochloric acid is you have to be able to absorb the minerals and the nutrients. And if you don't have enough stomach acid, you're not going to be absorbing those minerals. And it's kind of like this vicious cycle. So if somebody can't make enough hydrochloric acid because mineral levels are too low in the system, then they go and drink a cajillion gallons of water. That might help them move their bowels, but they're washing out all the minerals. And then you're magnifying the problem. Okay. So you just have to understand this a little bit better. If you're dealing with an anabolic issue and the body is sending more water to the kidneys, it's going to create a problem for your stool. And this is another thing I wanted to just address, is a lot of people say, well, if you're constipated, just take a bunch of magnesium. Well, listen, pushing magnesium is also pushing you out of an anabolic imbalance. So if you're more in a catabolic state, magnesium can help push you out of a catabolic state into anabolic state. But again, you don't want to be pumping in a bunch of magnesium if you don't know what state your body is in. I know this seems complicated, but again, I just want you to understand that if you want to really understand why your constipation is happening, this is a possibility that you have to know if you're more in a catabolic or an anabolic state. So magnesium is not going to really help you if you don't know what state you're in. It might be helpful for some people, but if you're taking magnesium and it doesn't work, it can actually mean that you're making your constipation worse. Okay, the fourth one that I see a lot is, and it's a very common cause for chronic constipation, is bacteria overgrowth. And this can actually happen in the stomach. So it can be H. pylori, it can be SIBO, it can be any other bacteria that's causing an overgrowth in the stomach. So in a lot of cases, also when you have SIBO or H. pylori, the waste products from these bacteria are very alkaline. So not only do you have low acid in your stomach, because that's why you have these bugs, because your stomach is supposed to be like an acidic bath. So when these bugs come in, and that acid, because it's that 2 to 3 pH, very acidic, it's supposed to kill these off. So if you have SIBO or H. pylori, you definitely have low stomach acid, because these bugs have been able to survive in your stomach because it's not acidic enough. The other thing is that when you do have SIBO or H. pylori, the byproducts of them, the waste products of this bacteria, is alkaline. So that's just making your stomach even more alkaline, which means you're not breaking down your food a lot. So if there's a lot of bacteria in the stomach and they're creating all this alkaline waste that will neutralize these acids and restrict your ability to acidify the food even further. And then there's a lot of waste in the small intestine that's creating an alkaline scenario. And that's why the food is moving very slow through the intestines. We don't want that bacteria overgrowth to be creating these slow down problems with your bowels, because you're taking all those bacteria that are in the stool and it's being stuck and it's just redistributing. So we want to be going and getting these things out of your body. And this is why you want to be going every single day. But if you have either SIBO or H. pylori, you definitely don't have enough stomach acid. Like I said, your stomach should be like an acid bath so that these bacteria are being killed once they get into your stomach. The stomach acid is basically a barrier to this whole body system. And when we eat anything, this bacteria and other varmints coming in on the food should be able to be destroyed in our stomach by this acid bath. Our stomach is designed to hold on to acid. So when it's super, super, super alkaline, because your doctor is giving you antacids and you have low stomach acid, why do you think you can never get rid of your infections? You got to build that stomach acid up. And the other thing is low acid for too long a period of time in the alkaline stomach causes damage to the lining, because these bacteria, the H. pylori, the SIBO, all these bacteria, they puncture, these bugs are nasty and they puncture the lining. So then it breaks down the stomach lining. And that's, have you ever heard of leaky gut? That's kind of a version of that. Again, it's so important. This is why it's opposite of what your doctors are telling you. You've got to build that acid up so that you can start not only digesting your food, but also killing off these pathogens. And then the other thing that we don't talk a lot about is just stress. People think, well, I don't know. I don't think I'm that stressed. I can't imagine stress would cause constipation, but it's a big one. When we're stressed, the body moves into what we call a fight or flight, and it's part of our sympathetic system. So we have the autonomic nervous system, and we have a fight or flight, which is the sympathetic system, or we have the rest and digest, which is the parasympathetic system. And when we're stressed, it activates the sympathetic system. And we need both of these, just kind of like we need the anabolic and the catabolic. We need both of these sides of the ANS system. But when we're in a constant state in sympathetic fight or flight, what's happening is our body doesn't know whether or not we're actually in an emergency, or we're just late to work, or we're just in traffic, or we're just getting in a fight with our children or our husband. Like when we're in constant fight or flight, our sympathetic nervous system is designed to get us out of a emergency situation. So if we're being chased by a tiger, or if we're being chased by a robber, we're about to get mugged, our body gives us this energy to be able to create cortisol and creates epinephrine and adrenaline. It gives us a lot of hormones that shut our other parts of our system down, because it's trying to give us the ability to run fast, and it doesn't want to focus on digesting food and all of the stuff that's not important when you're being chased by a bear. But what happens is when you're under chronic stress and you're engaging your sympathetic nervous system because you're constantly stressed about your job, or stressed about a relationship, or you're stressed about whatever, your body thinks it's in this fight or flight. And so you're constantly causing your digestion to slow down. You're constantly not creating the hydrochloric acid. You're putting strain on the parts of the body that are producing the hydrochloric acid and the digestion. When you digest food, you need to be in a parasympathetic system state. You need to be in that more relaxed state. So this is why I always encourage people too, when you're eating your meal, you should be slowing down, chewing your food really well, being in a very relaxed environment so your digestion will be very relaxed. When you're eating fast and you're rushing and you're eating through the drive-through and you're doing and you're just like frantic, you don't break down your food as well. The sympathetic state is the fight or flight, and that's when we're in an emergency. So when this is activated all the time, it does affect our digestion. We have to be able to switch between these two, and our body doesn't make hydrochloric acid when it's in a sympathetic system. It creates hydrochloric acid when we're in our parasympathetic. So Work on your stress, ladies. It's so, so important. The other thing is we all have varying degrees, but if we're severely stuck in fight or flight, it's going to restrict our ability to release bile also. So not only does it restrict our ability to produce stomach acid, but it also affects our bile. You ever heard of gallbladder bile sludge? That when you got all those fight or flight hormones and releasing toxins and you're releasing all these things, it can cause that bile to become kind of sluggish and sticky also. These are kind of the common things I see. And there's also some rare things. I mean, the last thing I want to talk about is there can be rare things that cause constipation, like blockages, gallbladder issues, like if you have your gallbladder out, if you have a sluggish bile. And also, if you're given the wrong advice, you go to your doctor and you're given Metamucil, you're getting antacids, and you're being told by whoever that you need to increase your fiber. Listen, if you're constipated and you don't have enough stomach acid and you're trying to eat more fiber, it's like trying to push a golf ball through a metal pipe. I mean, it's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to make you feel a lot worse. And the probiotics, you do not want probiotics. You don't have the ability to create the correct stomach acid, the bile, the sizzle, because the probiotics are just going to feed the bad bacteria. You've got to build up your stomach acid and lower that bad bacteria before you start adding the good bacteria. We need a combination of both, but when you have too much bacteria in the wrong place, you got to work on killing off those bad bacteria first before you add the other ones in. Otherwise, you're just going to feel miserable. So those are some of the other things. Now, here's the first thing you got to do. One is you have to just try to understand, like, from what I explained tonight, which one of these things sounds like this could be your issue. Identify which it could be, and then either try some things I suggested tonight by increasing your stomach acid, or come to camp. I can absolutely help you if you come to camp, and I can give you more in-depth guidance, because here is the deal, you guys, is we are all unique. We each have our own unique biochemistry. So it would be a disservice for me to say, yep, everybody should do this. Everybody should do this. As you can see, the body is very complex, and your constipation is never just one thing. And for some of you could have a combination of these things. You could have, a combination of low stomach acid, but also SIBO, or you could have you're more in a anabolic state, and you have, what I'm saying? So you could have a mineral deficiency. I mean, you could just have so many things. So we have to first create balance in the body. And that is what I teach. We can't just look at a symptom and diagnose and just go after one thing. We've got to create balance in the entire body. As I showed you, digestion starts here. It starts here and it goes to the back end. Right? Your digestion is from here to the back end. And there's a lot of things that can happen in that digestion process, right? And also what you put in, right? And what you're exposed to and what you should not be eating. And at camp, I talk about all of this. And before I would ever even coach anybody on their constipation, I would actually do an assessment on them, and which is what you will get at camp. If you are struggling and you're just like so fed up with your doctor or whoever you're going to is just giving you the wrong advice, if you're always going to the doctor and they're increasing your medications, or they're increasing your prescriptions, or they're telling you that, just go on a diet, go on keto, just eat more fiber, here's some Metamucil. I'm telling you, they're brushing you off. So I don't brush you off. I'm not going to brush you off. Everything I teach is going to help you to understand how to start taking care of your imbalances, taking care of the red lights, your symptoms, because you can't just do one thing. It's a combination. It's a system. Remember, when you go to a doctor, this is how they diagnose. They take blood work and they talk to you for 3 minutes. And then they say, oh, okay, take the blood test. Based on one blood test, we're now going to put you on a statin. Based on one blood test, now we're going to put you on metformin. Based on one blood test, now we're going to put you on Parlisec. Based on one reading, now we're going to give you a blood pressure medication. Okay. And then they're going to say, oh, your mom had constipation. Oh, okay. Then your mom had cancer. Oh, then you must. Oh, your mom had diabetes. Oh, yeah. Okay, listen. My mom and dad never had cancer. I had cancer. It wasn't hereditary. Cancer's not hereditary. Now, can it maybe be sometimes type 1 diabetes 100% is hereditary. Type 1. If you're born with type 1, that's a genetic thing. But I'm telling you, it's when you hear it's genetic or it's hereditary, 90% of the time it's not. 90% of the time you're being told that because they don't know what to tell you what to do. I'm here to tell you it's not the truth. Okay. So when you go and you get these diagnoses, you can just expect that you're going to continue to get worse and you're going to get worse and you're going to get worse because they manage this is what they manage. They manage your medications. Okay. I hope this was helpful, by the way, but I'm going to show you guys these ladies. I'm going to show you a real quick couple, and I want to show you what they have done in 4 months. Look at this. This is going to blow your mind. Kathy, in 4 months, down 19.5 inches, 41 inches down, 4 sizes off 3 meds. Her A1C went from 5.8. She was pre-diabetic, now at 5.4. She is on her way to reversing her diabetes. Jennifer reversed her diabetes. You're going to hear an amazing interview with her. She's lost 66 pounds. Look at this. This is amazing. 70 inches down 10 sizes off 4 of her medications. Her A1C she started was at 13. When she came to camp and was working with me, it was at 6.7. Now it's 5.3. She has reversed her diabetes. She has kept this off for over a year. Amazing. This is her sister, Teresa. Same thing. All started at camp. These ladies came to camp and they were like, you know what? If my sister can do it, if she can do it, if she can do it, if she can do it, I can do it too. And sure enough, look at Teresa. Now, Teresa didn't have diabetes, but her doctor told her she was not going to ever be able to lose weight. And she proved her doctor wrong. Now, Val, another amazing, look at this, 60 pounds down, reversed her diabetes. 18 medications, you guys. Her A1C went from 9 to 4.3. 18 medications she was able to get off of. Myra, 21 pounds, 30 inches. She's on only half doses now of her diabetes medications in only 4 months. Cheryl, 21 pounds. She was told, her doctor said, you're not going to lose weight. You're menopause age. You're just not going to lose weight. She's like, I didn't like that answer. So she's down 21 pounds, down 35 inches, down 6 sizes. Enjoy. I'm going to run a couple interviews and a couple things for you guys to enjoy post class. So I hope you learned a lot and we will see you guys next. Hi, Jen.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Feeling pretty good?
Great. Never felt better.
It feels good when you've reversed your diabetes, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely.
Would you have ever imagined that a year ago you would have been able to say, I've reversed my diabetes?
No.
Why?
Because before I started with your program, I didn't know it was possible. Because you got it. It was a disease that progressed, and you just had to try to not, let it progress as fast, but that you were, stuck. You're stuck with it for life. I didn't know.
And who was giving you that? Who was feeding you that information that you were stuck with diabetes for life and it wasn't reversible?
My physician.
What exactly did he or she say?
Well, we're going to start you on this metformin, and we'll see how that goes. And maybe eventually you'll have to go to insulin and those types of things.
Mm-hmm. And that didn't sit well with you, did it?
No, nope, not at all.
Were you feeling like you were diagnosed with type 2 diabetes? Your A1C, I think, was at 6 something or 7 something.
At that point. Well, the point that I joined the academy, when I was first diagnosed, it was 13 something. It was
13 something. Okay. So 13, your A1C was 13 and you're being told, we're going to have to get you on medications. This is not reversible. How did that settle with you? It must've just been, were you scared? Were you mad? What was going on?
I was scared, and but I'm one that tries not to live in fear. So I immediately went to my car after that appointment, and I got in the car and I started praying, and I said, Lord, help me to handle this, because I do not want to be on dialysis. I don't want to go blind. I don't want to be having amputations. help me to find something to help me through this. And then I found you on Facebook. I mean, I didn't know anybody in the academy or anything. I just, I was researching things on my phone. So, they'll throw things to you that, you've been researching, and yours came up, and I joined the free group and stayed there for a while, and then decided, you know what, I need more than this, and decided to go to camp and join the academy. And I'll be a lifer. I'll be in the academy for life.
You just gave me chills because, and this is kind of off script a little bit, but I don't care. I want to talk about it because I do pray for all of my clients or anybody that joins the academy, anybody that raises their hand and say, I want to learn more about the academy. I pray for those people even before I meet them, because I truly want this program to be not only life-changing from a physical standpoint, but I really do want them to be blessed. And so when you said that, I just had these chills because that's God working. It's like yes. he's making people, he's giving people an opportunity to take their health into their own hands. And yes. That's amazing. And so when you said that, I just got chills. Crazy. Yep. But it's like you are the perfect woman that will gravitate to this because you want to be healthy. You wanted to be healthy. But you were yes. not being told what to do, how to do it. You didn't know where to go. Were you a little bit confused too, because you're being told one thing and
yes. And when I would try to research online, it was many different things. Do this, do that. Don't do this, don't do that. And it was very confusing, very confusing. Yeah.
So fast forward, you decide you found me, and then you decided to do the program, and you started doing the program. How did it go the first few weeks?
I think it went well. I was really into it. I wanted to do the best I could with it. I'm one of those type A people that, wants to follow all the rules and so I enjoyed it. I enjoy learning. I'm going to be, I'm a lifelong learner. I love reading. I love researching. I love, learning new things. And it was just amazing because I had no idea how food, nutrition could change your whole health, without having to take medications.
Yeah. Well, like I always say, our food is our medicine. So when we take medicine from a lab, a drug, we call it a medicine, but it's a drug. Right. And it's toxic to our bodies. It might alleviate symptoms, but doesn't fix. It never fixes or heals the underlying problem. Food from nature has micronutrients in it, which is vitamins, minerals. That's our medicine. The colors of the food, the blueberries and the red peppers and the yellow peppers and the cucumbers, all the different colors, those are phytonutrients. That's medicine.
Yes.
We're never taught that.
No.
God was very smart in his design for food because all those different colors and the different textures and the different, micronutrients and all that inside the food does specific things in our body. Yeah. So when you take a medication, it messes everything up. Never taught that.
No.
Right?
I had no idea. No idea.
And so you started, changing your protocol, changing I never like to call it a diet because, what I teach is diets are short term. So, and diets work. Like if anybody's done, I won't say the popular ones out there, the popular ones that we all know.
I tried them all.
$1 million for. But those diets work because when you reduce your calories and you go on a diet, it works. But diets never last.
Right.
That's the difference. Diets don't last. People who do diets, they gain their weight back. They haven't learned what their body needs. They haven't learned how to deal with the attachment emotionally to food. So we call it a protocol. So we start you on the protocol. You're like a sponge. You're grabbing it all in. How does your body respond?
Oh, it responds wonderfully. Within weeks, I was feeling so much better, and not just physically, but mentally. Because mentally, before I was like, I'm a homebody. I don't like to go places. I'm just one of those people that, I'm an introvert and I'm going to stay home. And I had dreads. I'll have to get up and go here, or I have to do this. And I never realized that I didn't have to be that way. And then I started feeling better, and I'm like wanting to do things and have more energy and wanting to go places and not have the brain fog or the dread of everything. Life was starting to get better and more. I was starting to live life before I was just existing through
Yeah,
life.
let's go there. I mean, there's so many people that are right now living what you were living, which is extreme fatigue, being overweight, exhausted, cravings, all of that, which is just, it's simply put, I mean, we don't want to overcomplicate it, but simply put, is inflammation in the body.
Yeah.
And our bodies are so smart. They want to be healthy, but we have to learn what it needs.
Yes.
And so if somebody is willing to do that work, you're going to change your life.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it will change, definitely. Yeah.
It has to. It's just like, when somebody eats like crap and they're overeating, they're going to gain weight. Well, if you clean up everything and you work on all the steps that we teach, your body's going to change. You're going to get healthier. You're going to lose that inflammation. You're going to feel better. Your cravings are going to go away. This is why most people have a hard time staying on diets, because they're using willpower, right? They're using willpower, and then willpower only lasts for so long. And then after, 8 weeks on a certain diet, then they just want to, afterwards, they want to go and annihilate cake and cookies and cupcakes and eat their arm off because they're so starving, because they've been dieting for so long. They haven't changed the imbalance.
Yes. And they're still not eating the right things. Even, you may reduce your calories and may have not be doing sugar or something, but they're still not eating the things to heal the body. So it's just a temporary thing that, it won't last.
Yeah. And I don't like, I'm not going to bash other programs, but I just see so many so-called, coaches, health coaches, who are teaching their clients that, certain things are okay. And I'm just like, you do not understand how the body works. Even on the American Diabetes Association website, they're saying that in moderation, Dunkin' Donuts are okay. Are you kidding me right now? Your body Dunkin' Donuts are not okay ever, anytime. Not even in moderation, unless you want to stay, sick and stay inflamed. You put inflammatory products in, your body has to do something with it. So, people who are teaching that sort of rule, they're just wrong. And this is why women are so frustrated. And this is why women flip-flop to different programs, because they're not being taught the right thing.
Well, I've visited diabetics in a hospital. For breakfast, they bring them oatmeal toast, juice, and fruit. And they're listed, as a diabetic diet. Then that's the breakfast they bring them. How is that helping their, I don't get it. I don't.
Well, yeah. I mean, you get it because you studied it and you were willing to learn it, and this is why I do these interviews, and this is why I have you guys share your stories, because the world needs this program. The world, women, I say this in almost every interview. I think every woman should do this program, no matter if you have diabetes or not. I mean, I know I market myself as a diabetes and weight loss, and or both, but I think any woman who has any issue should do the program, because it's so much evolved around inflammation and how you can gain this knowledge to create balance in your body. This really, I should call my program "How to Create Balance in the Body" program, but that doesn't ever work, because people think I don't need to have balance.
Right. What do you mean balance? Yes.
But I just, it's so important when you understand. I mean, knowledge is power, right, Jen? Especially for you, when you learn this, you were just like, oh my word, this is life-changing.
Yes, it was.
Understand it. It's the why, right? Talk about that. Talk about how it's so important that we understand the why behind what we're doing.
Because otherwise, in other programs, that they're telling you, buy this, eat this, buy this food for me, or buy this pill or whatever, use it to lose weight. And they don't tell you what it's supposed to do, how it's supposed to work, how it's supposed to help, if it does. I mean, it will temporarily or whatever. But in your program, you understand exactly what that does to the body, how it affects the body, that the foods I was eating prior, the damage it was doing to your body. And then as I felt better, knowing I was healing and creating more balance with the food I should be eating, it's just, I don't, it's like a whole new world. Like, um, I just, the, it's all about the money. The pharmaceuticals, the medical community is not about the people anymore. And a lot of people, well, my doctor says, but you know what? Your doctor's not right. Your doctor's not right, you know?
Preach it,
So.
girl. Preach it. I feel like this is turning into more of a class than it is an interview, but I love it because we have to get this information out, because I tell people this all the time. Like, if you do this program, this will be the last program you need to do.
Yes.
If you apply what I teach, and
Right.
part of the struggle is when women come in, they aren't really committed to making the changes, and you have to make the changes in order to create it as a lifestyle, right?
Right.
Lifestyle is the practicing it, because once you practice it, it becomes a lifestyle. But if you're not willing to feel uncomfortable for a moment,
Yes.
feeling uncomfortable when you can't eat certain things or when you're going through detox symptoms, that's uncomfortable. And as long as you can embrace that and understand the why,
Yes.
then
Yeah.
then you tell me, is it really that hard?
No, it was not that hard.
Okay, but people are going to come to you all the time. Oh, it's too hard. What would you say to that?
Well,
it's too hard. It's too hard to change. It's too hard to not eat fast food. I'm too busy. What would you say to them?
Well, if you have to have fast food and there's no other choice or whatever, you carry your salad dressing in your purse, and you get the salad. May not be organic or whatever, but at least it's vegetables, and you can learn how to make choices in places that you go to. You're taught that, and not just to go. You have to get the fries and the burger or chicken sandwich or whatever. And when your body starts feeling better by what you're eating, you don't want that stuff anymore. You don't have any cravings for that anymore. And then when, like, oh, you know what? It's been 5-6 months. I'm going to have a burger or and the fries or whatever. And then you feel terrible because your body says, I thought we were through with this. This is not good for you. And I don't want this. And your body knows that that's not what you need. And your reaction to it, and then yeah, no, okay, I'm not missing anything. I won't do that again.
Yeah, people say it's too hard to go on a healthy protocol, whatever. And my question back to them is, well, is it hard to be 60-70 pounds overweight? Is it hard to be injecting insulin into your arm? Is it hard to be taking metformin that rots your gut and causes inflammation in your gut? Is it hard to be constipated and bloated and not be able to get off the couch because you're in so much pain because your knees and your back and your hips? And I mean, is that hard?
Yes, definitely.
So
our life was so much
harder. Hard.
Yeah.
Let's make like, for you, it was, you said it was a couple weeks where you start feeling better. Let's do 2 weeks of maybe some difficult work to change the trajectory of your entire life.
Right.
Because right now, let's talk about this. How are you feeling right now? I mean, this is where you were look at this, Jen. You are down 66 pounds, 70 inches, down 10 sizes, off 4 medications. Your A1C, when you were when you were diagnosed, it was at 13 something, right? But when you started with me, it was at 6.7, which is still a diabetic type 2.
Right.
Now it's at 5.3. It's been there for almost a year. You have reversed your diabetes. Your goal was to reverse your type 2 diabetes and lose weight. That was your goal when you set out to do this program. You've attained it.
Yes, I have.
Do you remember where you were when you were sitting there, that picture?
That was my birthday dinner.
Do you remember how you were feeling though? How were you emotionally when you were?
Like I said, I probably earlier that day, I don't remember, but I'm sure I'm like, okay, I got to get up and put some makeup on. They want to take me to dinner because it's my birthday. I'd rather stay here on the couch. I didn't even want to celebrate my birthday, And I was starting to have trouble walking. My legs were bothering me. And a few weeks after that, we went to see my granddaughter at college, and there's all kinds of, places to go visit. And some of them had trails or climbing or stairs. And later on, they were telling me that they were discussing, well, we better not go there because I don't think grandma will be able to, make that trek. Now we're setting up. I go, now I want to do it. Let's go do it. We're setting up a time to go and do all those things I missed at that time, because I have more energy and I'm physically better. And
yeah, you're not having any trouble walking now. Look at you. This picture here, you out in nature with your tennis shoes on, walking. How much do you walk now a day?
Like 2.5 miles.
Wow. It's amazing, girl.
Yep.
Amazing.
It is. I feel better now at 67 than I felt at 37. And in between.
Wow.
Yes, definitely.
Let's talk about, I really want the women to hear this. I really want them to hear that they can do it. So there's so many women that believe that they can't do it. Now, you just said you revealed you're 67, right? You had type 2 diabetes. You were 66 pounds heavier. A lot of women are where you're at. What advice would you give them, or what encouragement would you give them about, sharing that they can do this just like you did?
You can definitely do it if you have the right information to do it. If you like, when I went to camp and the information you gave us at camp, but I started applying in those 2 weeks, and I was already, by the time the class started, I was already feeling better. It was, in 2 weeks, and I had went down like 7 pounds in those 2 weeks, and you just need somebody like Terry here to help you, make you understand how you can do it, because it is doable. Anybody can do it, anybody. And it's not just about my diabetes, or, and it's anyone who's overweight, who you're going to have insulin resistance, and you're going to need help in learning how to conquer that. And you will lose weight, and you will feel so much better, because this whole program is to get your body in balance, to heal yourself on the cellular level. And the weight loss and reversing disease is the product of it.
Mm-hmm.
And
the reason why people should listen to you and believe you is because you have referred a lot of people to this program, and they all have had amazing results. I just got done interviewing your sister, who is down 60 some pounds also.
Yes.
Right.
And she's 7 years younger than I am, and she did not have diabetes.
Yeah.
She
just wanted to lose weight.
Had
hypothyroid,
and she had so much trouble losing weight, and she has a lot of digestive problems. So her situation was nowhere near mine, but she had her problems, and all of that's improved for her, and she's lost that weight, and has energy galore. And I didn't get as good as genes as she did, because at 60, she could pass for 40.
Yeah, she looks amazing. Yeah, she does. But my point is that, listen, you would not put your name to something if you didn't believe it worked.
Definitely.
And same with me. Like, I would not be interviewing you guys and doing this if I thought it was a scam. You and I have the same sort of passion for women and to help women, right? And you're living proof that when you make the decision and you put in the work, it doesn't have to be super complicated. It doesn't have to be super challenging to do. You just need the right structure and the right process, and you need something to follow. And that's what we have set up. And if you can do that, and then you can be with a bunch of women that are going through the same thing you are. And that's what camp does, is camp allows you to meet your sisters and be able to go through this program all together. Mm-hmm. And that's huge, because when other women are going through the same journey as you, it just makes the process a lot easier.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you can lean on each other, and you support each other, and you get lifelong friendships from people from all over the United States, Canada, that you never would have met before either. And that's just a plus to the program, So.
So I want to do one more thing, because we have this free group that's all women that have joined the group either because they have diabetes or they want to lose weight. And there's a lot of women in here that have never come to camp. And I want you to tell them how important it is for them, why they should come to camp, why they are missing out, because this is the last camp I'm doing this year.
Mm-hmm.
And this is their opportunity to finally be able to get ahead of their health crisis. Because
Right.
I can promise all of you who are watching this, if you're have type 2 diabetes and you're on medications, you're going to get worse before you
Yes.
get better unless you make some changes. And
Definitely.
that's what we're here to do, is offer you an opportunity to make some changes. And that's what camp is about. So Jen, encourage these ladies and tell them, they can do this and why they should come to camp.
That you should come to camp to see what it's all about. You're hearing what we're saying and you're skeptical. What is $47 for 4 hours of an afternoon to find out, what it's about. And you will be so pleasantly surprised of what you're going to learn. And she even does a health evaluation on you at that time, and you'll be surprised at where you're at right now. And if you join the academy and after the camp and later down the road, you'll do another one, and the improvement that you'll find in that time period is amazing. Everybody improves. Everybody. Yeah. One person, you cannot say not one person has not improved if they're not even following that strict the protocol. They're going to improve. It happens.
It absolutely does. And this is the one thing that I hear from so many people. The last when we did camp last, whenever it was, the women that were in that camp were like, I saw your stuff. I should have gone to camp back the other time and I didn't because I wanted to wait. And they're always like, I'm so disappointed that I waited.
Yes.
You never know, you never know. I might not be doing camps. I don't know. So I just want to encourage all of you to grab onto this opportunity, because what you even get that day at camp is going to blow your mind. You're going to learn, you're going to be able to take so many tools I teach that day and to start applying them on Monday.
Like I did. I said, and I did. I started that night.
Yeah, right.
I think it ended at 3 p.m. I started that day with my next meal, and for the next 2 weeks, and then there's 7. I lost 7 pounds in those 2 weeks, and was already feeling better before the actual academy started. Just applying the things that you taught in camp.
I'm so proud of you, girl.
I thank you. I'm proud of myself.
I really am. Yeah, I was gonna say, you must be so proud of yourself. I mean, doing the work and being able now to. I always consider, anytime you make these kind of health changes, you're giving your body a gift. You're giving your body a gift. You're giving your body the gift of health that it so desperately wanted.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's not only going to make your quality of life better, but it's going to extend your life.
Oh, yes.
But you can't put a price on quality of life.
No, you can't. You can't.
I know.
You don't know how bad your quality of life was prior until you are better, until you heal your body, heal your self on the cellular level. You won't know that it was that bad. Like, I look at that picture and I'm like, I don't even remember that person. It hasn't been that long ago, a little over a year, but I don't even remember that person anymore.
Because even more importantly is just, you're on the road to getting worse because your medical doctor does not know how to reverse diabetes.
They don't.
So if you're depending on your medical doctor to help you reverse or help you heal, that's just not their.
No, they're going to treat the symptoms for now, and that's it.
Treat it. And you're going to continue to get. I can say this because I see this every single day. Clients come to me who have been to their doctors for years, and they keep upping their meds, and they keep getting sicker. They keep getting worse. Their symptoms get worse. Their A1Cs go up. They just get worse. Yes. And that's the cycle you're in. That's the cycle you're going to be on, unless you decide, ladies, to interrupt that cycle. Today, make a decision, come to camp, and you will learn how to stop that cycle.
Because they tell you it's a progressive disease. They don't tell you that it can be reversed or I mean, we call it reverse, but I call it I'm cured.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, of course, if I went back to the way I was eating before,
Yeah.
it would probably come back. But to me, I'm cured.
Well, and you've learned the skills now. It's never going to come back because you've learned, diabetes is a lifestyle disease. It's a nutritional disease. It's your body's inability to manage blood sugar, and that's curable. It's fixable. And you've learned how to not to keep making that happen. So it's not going to come back. You have reversed or cured your diabetes, 100%.
Yeah.
You've learned how to not bring it back.
Yes, exactly.
I asked your sister, I said, because we were talking similarly about, the process of how to get where you're at. And I'm like, would you ever want to go back to where you were in October? She said, don't even go there. She goes, I would never. She goes, a simple $47 changed my life.
Right. Exactly.
It's like, I've seen a lot of women spend $47 on a lot worse stuff than this. That's for sure.
$47 to go out with your husband to dinner and eat crap food. It's not going to serve you at all. And might as well spend $47.
I had somebody in my last squad who's told me that she used to be in one of these programs, and she was spending on packaged food and supplements. She was spending $600 a week.
Yeah, that was one of my referrals, one of my friends.
$600 a week for packaged food. I call it packaged toxins.
Mm-hmm.
So the only reason why you're losing weight on the packaged toxins is because you're reducing your calories. You're not fixing the problem.
No,
your inflammation is not. So once they go off the packaged food, they start eating real food, they're going to gain weight. It's crazy. Anyway, Jen, I'm going to end with this graphic again. Thank you. You're amazing. Congratulations on reversing your diabetes. Congratulations on the rock star that you are. This is amazing. I'm proud of you. And thank you for sharing your story, as you will be a huge inspiration to many women that are on the fence or that are just needing kind of a kick in the butt to get going. So thank you so much, Jen. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for everything.